Hi darlings, this is Sewing Julie and welcome back to my channel. Today you see a slightly different view next to me, and this is because today we are talking about overlocks. Now, overlocks are one of the topics that I get asked the most when it comes to sewing equipment, so I decided to make a video and just run through the basics and the key elements, what to look for in your next overlock. Also in this video we will be reviewing this beautiful machine that you see next to me, which is Elna eXtend 864 Air, and we will be reviewing what sets this machine apart from the rest. I also want to thank Elna for sponsoring this video and providing the machine for the review. Now let's zoom in and start talking those overlocks. The very first thing that you have to decide when you're choosing an overlock is whether to choose a 3-thread or 4-thread overlock. Now the main difference is that 3-thread overlocks are considered for seam finishes only, while you can use the 4-thread overlock for creating the holding seams. So if you like sewing stretch fabrics, if you like to sew knits or sportswear, the 4-thread overlock is the way to go. Personally, I always recommend choosing a 4-thread overlock because it's a more versatile piece. Elna eXtend 864 Air model is a 4-thread overlock. This is why we can see the holder for 4 big thread cones, and here is the thread holder, which is telescopic. So when you're choosing your machine, make sure that this part is very stable and is not flimsy, because otherwise it does add discomfort when you're sewing. So next up we have the tension dials. Again, we have 4 speed dials because we have a 4-thread overlock, and you can adjust the tension in every single thread. Now down here we have 2 front needles which are creating these straight stitches, and the rest 2 threads are creating loop stitches, and here is the cover for loop stitches right here. Here you can also find the instructions on how to thread the entire machine. Also, very different from the regular sewing machine, here we have a knife which cuts the fabric while you're sewing and creates a very beautiful, neat finish. Overlocks are controlled with the foot controllers, so before choosing your overlock, make sure that you test the foot controller as well, and just make sure that you like how it feels, how it presses, because this thing will control your entire sewing process. Now moving on to further accessory list, let's see what else is in the box of Elna eXtend 864 Air. So a lot of overlocks come with similar or a bit different tray, which is meant to catch those fabric scraps once the overlock knife cuts them off, and it helps to maintain the cleanness of your sewing space. Next in the box we have this accessory box, which is very neat and clean way to store the overlock accessories, and inside we find a lot of different things which will help you to maintain your overlock and will help you while you're sewing with it. Last but not least, it's very handy when the overlock comes with the cover, because it helps you to protect your overlock from the dust once you're not using it. We've seen this machine up close, we've seen what comes in the box, and now it's time to really get into those details and see what sets this machine apart from the rest. So if you ever had to sew with an overlock, you know that the biggest problem is when it comes to threading the overlock or changing the threads, because there is a lot of manual work and it always is a little bit of a hassle to do it. Now Elna eXtend 864 Air model solves it in 2 ways. Now first is hidden in its name, Air. So in this model, for the 2 loop threads that we have right here, we don't have to go and manually change the threads, so as you have to do with a standard overlock, but instead we just open the loop cover, push the threads right here through these holes, lift the lever feet, and that's it. The machine threads itself, saving you time and speeding the whole process. Now, second way how this model saves you time for changing those threads is the automatic threading right here, where you just pull the lever bar below and just push the threads, spreading your needle threads very fast and efficiently. Next feature is the 8-feet dog system, which ensures that the process of moving the fabric is very smooth, because the higher the number of the feet dogs, the smoother the machine will handle different kind of fabrics. So no matter if you're working with very lightweight fabrics or very heavyweight fabrics, the machine will handle it perfectly. This machine also has a 5-level pressure foot dial, which allows you to adjust the pressure of the foot to match the pressure of your fabric. Again, this will help you make sure that the machine handles the fabric you're working with perfectly and smoothly. For normal sewing, just keep the machine in the end position and it will sew as normal fabric. However, keep in mind that if you want to play with different kind of textures and different kind of fabrics, you can adjust this space easily and create a very smooth seam. One more feature that will allow you to handle the fabrics easily is adjustable differential feet. Depending on the fabric type that you're working with, you can adjust the adjustable differential feet to make sure that the machine sews smoothly and avoid puckering and stretching. Now that we talked about the main features of the machine, it's time to talk about the main seams it can do. So in the beginning of this review, I mentioned that this machine is a 4-thread overlock. So the main function that you will probably be using is a 4-thread seam, and this seam looks like this. It's highly elastic and very stretchable, so you can use it for any kind of seam, and most importantly, you can even create a full garment using only this stitch. And now you can make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video, where I will show you the dress that I made using only the 4-thread seam with this machine. Now, despite that this is a 4-thread machine, you can also use it to create 3-thread seams, and 3-thread seams are used to finish those neat edges. So you can either create a wider seam by threading the first needle of the machine, or you can create a more narrow seam by threading the second needle. So these two seams will probably be the most common ones that you will be using with your overlock. However, there are plenty more seams that you can do with overlock by switching to 2, 3 or 4 threads. So with this Elna eXtend 864 Air model, you can create a rolled hemming seam, picot edging seam, or a narrow hemming seam. All these 3 seams are used with 3 threads, and they will help you finish the seam edges mainly where you want the seam finish to be visible. So either you want to do a roll hemming on the gathering or something like this. So while the machine is threaded with 3 threads and the 9th is disabled, you can also create pin tucks for decorative purposes, so it's a great way to decorate your shirt, blouses or dresses. Also, again, with 3 threads on the overlock and the 9th disabled, you can create a flat lock, which can be used for either decorative purposes, or you can use it for hemming and creating very elastic hemline. When the machine is threaded with 4 threads, you can use it for decorative over edging, which is a great way to expand the number of seams that you can use in creating household interior products such as tablecloths or something like that. Also, with the 4 threads on the overlock, you can use it to create gathers, and you know that making gathers can be a little bit tricky and time consuming, so this is why making it with the overlock is a faster and more efficient way to do it. So generally, using these all seams and these all possibilities of the standard completation of Elna eXtend 864 Air model, you can cut, neaten and sew together different layers of fabric all with one seam. So one more thing that is very important to look for when you're choosing your overlock is if the machine has optional accessories, because again, it will help you to expand the range and the usability of the machine. So this particular model can handle a few different optional accessories, and this will allow you to create different seams. So if you want to expand the seam range for Elna eXtend 864 Air model, you can choose from piping foot, blind stitch foot, cording foot, beading attachment, elastic gathering attachment, and cloth guide. All these accessories will help you to expand the range of machine and will increase its versatility. So I highly recommend you to choose the optional product list for any kind of overlock that you're looking for. Now that we have viewed the machine, talked about its specifications, and talked about all the seams that it can make, it's time to show you the dress that I made using solely this Elna eXtend 864 Air model. Here it is. So this is it for today's video, and to summarize, when you're choosing an overlock, I do recommend you to choose a 4-thread overlock because it will give you so much more possibilities. Also look for an overlock which will give you a possibility to work with many different fabrics, no matter if it's lightweight or heavyweight. Before choosing the specific overlock model, make sure you check the accessories that the machine comes with and also additional kits that you can buy and expand your overlock seam range. Now also, if you want a faster and smooth process, I do recommend you checking a machine like Elna eXtend 864 Air, which has air threading and also front needle threading, which will make sure that the threading process is very smooth and efficient. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!